Alright guys, today we're going to be building a humbucker. I've got all my parts laid here. I'm going to go through them right quick. I've got the back plate right here. I've got a spacer for the screws on the screw lug right here. And then I've got an Alnico 5 bar magnet. I've got a spacer for our slug side bobbin. Got our cap. And then I've got our slugs. Now these are not to be confused with Alnico 5 magnet. So when you're buying these guys, this is just a steel slug. This is actually an Alnico 5 magnet. So make sure you don't get confused on those two parts. These are two totally separate pieces. And then here is our screw. Now our slugs go into our bobbin that has the space for those. And if you look, you can see that it just goes straight through to the bottom. There's not any ledge or anything in there. And if you look at the one for the screws, there's a little hole and then there's like a ledge that this top of this screw right here. We put it in there backwards, it can sit in like that. The way this guy works is, if you can imagine, this screw is going all the way through and it's sticking out the back here. And then this slug is sitting in there as well, like that. And then this magnet is going to sit in between them, like so. Now, if we know with our building a humbucker that we have to have each single coil, if you can imagine these are two single coils together, each one has to be in a different polarity. Well, the way a humbucker gets that is if we look at our magnet, you can tell that one side is a south polarity, the other side is a north polarity. So that's how a humbucker gets the difference in the polarities. When you put that magnet between these two steel pieces, one side is going to be your north and one side is going to be your south, like so. So this screw is going to be coming down through here and sticking through right here. It's going to be picking up the magnet from this bar magnet and bringing it out the front. Same thing here. It's going to be bringing it out this side. Well, this might be the south polarity. This might be the north polarity. So you've got opposite polarities on this magnet. And that's basically how they work. Now, the only way this thing goes together, this guy here goes there. Magnet goes there. Spacer there. Screw side bobbin. Your lug side bobbin there, and then you got a cap that goes on top, and that's it. And then I've got some 4-conductor wire here because I don't know if you saw my last video. If you didn't, click right here, you can check it out where I go through the humbucking characteristics of the different humbuckers. We're going to bring it out of our pickup to where we can either wire it in series, parallel, or individually too. So we can break this thing down into quite a few combinations. Okay, so we got our bobbins here. I've got the one that's got for the screws, and I've got one that's for the lugs. Now we're going to wire these guys exactly the same. We're not going to change anything. I'm not going to wind one clockwise and the other one counterclockwise. I'm going to wind them both exactly the same. So if I decide to go clockwise on this one, I'm going clockwise on that one. Now if you didn't see in my other video that I posted, I'll put a link to it here where you can see it. I talk about it doesn't matter which way you wind these guys, it just matters which way the electrons are flowing. And if you don't understand that, go back, check that video out, and maybe help you understand better what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to start with, I'm going to do 5,000 windings on each of these guys. So when this thing is wired in series, we're going to have 10,000 windings on it. I'm going to be using Tempco 42 gauge wire here. Okay, so the way I put these guys on here is that you can get double-sided tape. You can do whatever you want to. But if you guys have seen any of my other stuff, I always use super glue and painter's tape. Let's take a piece. Oh, it's a little too big. Just take a piece, stick it on one side. Take another piece, stick it on my bobbin. And then take a little glue, super glue. Hope that it's not dried up. Squeeze a little bit on there. Take my bobbin and I can kind of center it like so. And there we go. Now one thing I always do before I do anything is I always check to make sure that this guy is spinning in the right spot. So one downside to this one is that this just kind of slides on there. It doesn't have a spot. But like I said, it's not a big deal. But if it's too far off, you're going to start building windings on one side rather than the other. And the easiest way I've found to do this is just to take a ruler, measure it, make sure that they're both hitting about the same spot. So I'm right at about 3 centimeters right there. I'm right about, so that's right on the money. Alright, so I'm going to wind this guy clockwise here. But what I've got to do first is I've got to mount my wire so that it doesn't come off and that I can find it when I get done. So I just got some of this pickup tape here. I got this from Stu Mac. You can use anything though, it doesn't have to be this. I just use it because I got it. I'm just gonna leave me enough out here to where I can do whatever I need to. And I'm just gonna tape it somewhere out of the way. So now you can see that I got that there. I'm just gonna bring this guy around and put a couple windings on it and reset my counter first. Okay, I'm at 0 on my counter. I'm just gonna take this guy. I'm gonna put this in the floor. I always set this in the floor just like this. I'm just gonna by hand just put a couple windings on here. Okay, I think we're pretty good right there. So I'm gonna move this guy in where maybe you guys can see it better. Like I said, we're going 5,000 windings per bobbin. Alright, we're gonna go with it. I'm up at 96 windings now. So here we go. I like to stop every now and again to make sure that my windings are staying pretty even on the top. And then I just kind of, as I'm doing that, I'll kind of scatter them around and wind it. I'm at 1,700 and right at 1,800 windings. Okay, so now what I've done is I've basically I stopped at 4,500. As you can tell, bobbin's getting kind of full, and I think I could have got 5,000 on there, but no problem. But I'm just gonna do 45 just to leave it at that. So anyways, what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna break this wire down here. So I took my start off there, and now I'm going to take my finish and I'm gonna tape it too. Okay, so I ended up using the blue tape for my finish, just so I would know, and then the original on the black there. So now we're going to pull it off of our bobbin. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing to pick up bobbin number 2. This will be the lug side. Okay, just like the other side, we're going to wind this one clockwise as well. All right, there's 4,500 on this one, actually 4,508. Okay, so I want you to look at this pickup. You see how it's kind of wonky, how this one goes this way and that one goes this way. The reason that is I made a mistake. I didn't get this thing perfectly aligned. So what happened is it basically wound it this way. So just always make sure when you put this guy on here that you are exactly spinning in the right direction. All right, so there we go. We've got our 2 pickup bobbins wound, 4,500 windings each, and we're going to go to the next part. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire up. I'm trying to go with the most common way that these things are wired up. And I'm going to do, for the screw side, I'm going to do green to the inside. And I'm going to do red to the outside. And then with the other pickup, we'll do inside black, outside white. So all I've done here is I've just taken this wire and tried to wrap it around our wire here, so we can get a good connection once I solder this. That's basically what I've done there. I don't know if you can see there or not. I hope you can. I'm just taking that wire and wrapping it around it a bunch of times. Now I'm going to take my soldering iron. See if I can get it to make a connection here. I hope. All right, I'm going to take some more of this pickup tape I got here and try to isolate this solder joint from the actual pickup windings. And to do that, I'm just going to wrap this guy with some of this tape. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other one, except I'm going to use our red wire. And you can definitely go ahead and do this just to these wires here, to this wire. To me, I think it's just easier for me to do it this way for right now. What I'm going to do is take this guy here, basically do the exact same thing I just did to the other one. I'm just going to wrap it around it a couple times. Alright, so we got that. I think this is the most finicky thing I've ever tried to do in my life. And then we're going to do the same thing we just did and isolate it from the rest of the coil. I'm just going to take some more of this tape and wrap this guy up here. And there we go. Now the moment of truth is testing this thing, making sure it's actually got a connection. So we're going to go to our ohms and pray that we have a readout. 3.34K. So yay, we've got a readout on it. Now let's do the other one. And there we go. Now we've got our two bobbins, both with 4,500 windings each. Before I go any further, let's make sure that this one actually works. 3.37. It's kind of chilly in my shop too, so, 3.32. So they're very close, very similar to each other. Okay, so what I've done now is I basically cut this guy. I know this thing's going to come through about right here. And then I'm just going to let these two come in. And I'm trying to cut these about where I need them to go. I'm going to kind of sandwich those behind here. And then this one's going to come in and do the same thing. And basically all I'm doing here is I'm just making two hooks and hooking them together. And then taking my soldering iron and soldering them up. And then just like the other thing, I want to isolate them. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other ones. I can make these a lot shorter, I think. Okay, so basically what I did, same thing I did with this one. I did make a screw up though. I actually pulled my start out of this one. I had to go back and redo it. So that's why I had to take a little cut there. But I got it back now, and I'm going to hook all this stuff back up. But first, I need to make sure I didn't tear up something when I done that. Okay, we're good. I got lucky on that. I just got a little too aggressive, and I actually pulled the wire back out of the pickup. All right, I'm just protecting these, isolating the wires from the actual everything else. Now, the next fun part is getting all this crap into the pickup here. Okay, so you can see here now what I've done is I basically just put some tape on here to hold this guy together, long enough for me to tape it up with this right here. Now I'm going to take it and wrap this guy to where it holds this thing together. And there we go. So I'm going to pull these guys off. Now if we were doing one this was going to show, I probably wouldn't have done that. I'd have just left it like it is and then hooked it to our thing here. But we're actually going to put a cover on the top of this guy. So we'll have that right there on top of it. Okay, now I just got this guy stuck in here, and I'm fixing to solder our ground down here to the bottom. Make sure I got a good connection here. Just remember when you do this, if you've got the Weller soldering iron like I do, make sure that you've got it set at the high setting so that it gets this hot enough. This is pretty easy to solder to. Alright, I've cut that. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to finish soldering it all the way up. And there we go. So now we're going to put our other pieces in here. We're going to put a piece on the back here. Let's see which side our magnet is. Alright, I'm going to put the south polarity to my screw lugs. And I'll put the north to our slugs up here. So I'm going to find the south, which would be that one right there. That would be the north. And there's the south. So I'm going to put the south polarity right like so. Got my little spacer here. I'm just going to kind of set it over here on the side for now. Line these screws up on the bottom. So there's that. Alright, now I'm going to put the rest of these screws in here. Okay, so there's that. As you can tell, I kind of scratched the front a little bit. And we're going to put in the rest of our slugs here. Alright, I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to get my arbor press that I put in the other video, and I'm going to press these guys the rest of the way in. Alright, so there we go. Now I'm going to put these screws in that goes into these little holes right here. So now that's together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the cap on and we're going to solder it here and here. There's one side. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the pickup in my guitar here. I've got a switch wired to it right here that I can flip this thing between parallel, I don't know if you can see it or not, parallel or in a series winding. And we're going to get a couple of sound tests on it. We're going to start out with some clean tones, and then we'll go into some dirtier tones. Okay, so here we go. This is a humbucker pickup, 4500 windings on each bobbin. I've got a south polarity on the screw lugs and north polarity on the slugs on top. I've got it wired in parallel, so here we go. Okay, that was parallel. This is going to be series. I just flipped the switch, so here we go. Definitely flipping more on the recording here. Okay, this is going to be dirty tone on the parallel. I've just basically got everything maxed out on there. It's, you know, drive maxed out so you can get a good sound of what it sounds like. Now, one thing I do want to recommend while doing this is make sure you're wearing some type of headphones or something so you can hear what these things really sound. If you're trying to use your speakers on your phone, you're probably not getting a good sound. But anyways, here's dirty tone, parallel, humbucker. Not bad. All right, let's switch this bad boy over to a series winding. All right, so this is Humbucker series winding dirty tone. Here's parallel again. Series with just some leads. Well, just off the top, really, my favorite so far is definitely the parallel. I think it has a brighter tone. It feels like it's warmer. So that's kind of, I think, the way I like it the most. Alright guys, there you go. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I was going to do a couple really quick clips for you, and I'm going to try to put them together where you can hear them side by side, and I'm not having any really silence between them to where you can kind of hear what they sound like. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions about this guy here, I have not potted this thing yet. I don't know if I'm going to or not. I like kind of the way it sounds without being potted. But anyways, guys, if you have any questions or comments about any of this stuff, as always, leave them below. If you like the video, give me a like. If you like it, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.